Yeah, what's happening? We about to bring that action. Gotta hold it down for my Seattle Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. We going beneath the waves. Get it hype, step onto the ice. Ready for some action, release the Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
Take three. What is up, everyone? Welcome into the Beneath the Waves podcast, your weekly recap of all things Seattle hockey and beyond. I am Matt.
And I'm Derek. It is episode 70 of the BTW pod, and on today's episode, we will catch up on all the Torrent signings and draft picks from the last week, and chat with McKenna of @WatchSeattleWomensSports about her time in Detroit at the draft. And Matt, opening up with some small talk this week for you. I have now seen Project Hail Mary 3 times in the span of about a week. I watched it back-to-back days, and I watched it with my parents a couple days ago. I think I could watch it like 10 more times. And so that's number one. And
that's a lot of watch time.
Yeah, it's
Isn't it like a 2.5 hour movie?
It is,
yeah.
It is. So I'm almost up to like 8 or 9 hours or something.
I don't know what the theaters are like in Seattle. You probably have much fancier theaters than we have here, but our nice theater is like recliner seats, and you can pay like a premium charge to get like the double wide recliner seats that are like heated and extra reclined. So when we went to see Project Hail Mary, we splurged because we're like, it's 2.5 hours. We want to get comfy. And do you still cry during the movie?
I did the first and the third time. The first and the third time. The first one there was multiple times, but then the third one there was only like one time. But I have yet to see. I didn't see it in a theater. I don't think I'll ever see it in a theater. On brand with the Seattle Torrent, and then also Apple TV. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the other little bit, I took a walk from Capitol Hill in Seattle. Yeah, this doesn't mean anything to you, but Capitol Hill in Seattle, all the way to the pier. And there was a huge World Cup screen on a barge. You might have seen that going around, but I saw that. It was really cool. Couldn't go on the barge because you had to be like a Sounders, which is our MLS team, season ticket holder. But I did go to Tom's Watch Bar, which, spoiler alert, is one of the places that @WatchSeattleWomensSports suggests that you can watch women's sports at. And it was Japan versus Tunisia. And the whole bar was filled with Japan fans, a lot of Japanese people. And I watched the first half in that bar. It started at like 9 p.m. And the place was so loud, cheering like right after the Japan national anthem was sung. And then they scored 2 quick goals in the first half. And I was like screaming for Japan. I'm not even a Japan fan.
You became a fan for those 2.5 hours.
Exactly. So that was sick. Did that a couple days ago. And then we walked. So that's right next to Climate Pledge, Tom's Watch Bar. So we walked from Capitol.
I think that's where Mike Benton hangs out after games. I think I hear him talk on the radio.
I think the official Kraken radio watch parties take place in Tom's Watch Bar. It's such a nice place, and you can watch women's sports there. You can watch Torrent games there.
Are you pretty locked into the World Cup, or are you like me with NBA and you're like, it's just a thing that's happening?
I'm cheering for 4 different teams, but I kind of just catch games whenever they're on.
That's fair.
Yeah.
In soccer terms,
no Team Canada, by the way.
In soccer terms, we are in extra time. I don't know, basically with our school year. So I just toss on World Cup on my whiteboard projector, and we just sit back and watch because we're just running up the clock.
You're the cool teacher. We had a cool teacher that would always put up like the March Madness games.
We are here to talk Torrent today. It was a super busy Seattle hockey week, so we split our recording into 2 separate episodes. Otherwise, it would be a lot. You would have a lot. So we are all Torrent focused today. And to lead things off, we now have 6 new members of the Seattle Torrent following Friday's PWHL Draft. GM Meghan Turner went ahead with 3 forwards, 2 defenders, and a goalie. We are going to yeah, we can just field the team right there. We are going to dive into each of these picks individually, but the topic that dominated the conversation on draft day surrounded who the Torrent would pick at number 2 overall. The fans clamored for Layla Edwards. The dual role Olympic medalist seemed to check every box that the Seattle market would want, both on and off the ice. But as soon as the M of the University of Minnesota was announced, hopes were dashed, and the Seattle Torrent fan base, at least the Twitter fan base for sure,
Grain of
was
salt.
just absolutely just in up in flames.
Livid.
GMMT decided to select forward Abbey Murphy. We went over her stats last week, so we're not going to bore you with that again. But in a hockey sense, she is going to be incredibly effective joining this team, or at least I would hope so. Like we
Mhm.
thought that Shane Wright would be super effective coming into the Kraken, not so much. But I think Abbey Murphy is going to be her for this team. Meg Turner said she wants year two of the Torrent to be faster, to be more aggressive, and be relentless. And Abbey Murphy is just check all that apply to that, all of the above, especially considering the players that we lost during the expansion. We took some big, big hits. In the official press release from the team, the GM said, quote, "She's a fantastic individual, and we always look at the person first. It's non-negotiable for us. She's a humble, hardworking person. She's spoken so highly of by everyone who has ever known her, which is really cool. Not everyone has that. So first of all, her character is great, and I'm really excited for the people of Seattle and the city to get to people in Seattle and the city to get to know her and give her a shot and see that she's really great too and see what we saw in her. She's also a generational hockey player. She's going to change the way this league operates. Teams are going to have to game plan around her, and that's what's really special. That's a really special thing. There's not many players like that. We knew how well she would work with Alex Carpenter up front and Julia Gosling and some of the other forwards that we have here. And it felt like she was the winger that we needed and a piece that we needed to fit. We're really, really excited about her play and her fitting into the group, end quote. So that was from the official release
Mhm.
that the team put out. Unfortunately for Abby Murphy, like we said, she did not receive the warmest of welcomes from the Torrent fans online. Reaction videos of the pick coming in were full of boos and just shock and horror. Replies on the official post were just full of negative responses. If you go back and look at the uh, like graphic that they put on Instagram or that they tweeted out, it's just all like, this wasn't our pick. This isn't who we wanted. And that's kind of what it was said over and over. I had a post that we put on the One Torrent Facebook group, and they actually had to turn the comments off on it
Oof.
because it was just getting so like toxic on of just people going at it at each other. Here at BTW, we are not in the politics business. We just want to get at that out there. We want to be a place for fans to hang out, share how they're feeling, hear our takes, hopefully have some fun and some laughs along the way. But it would be remiss of us to not acknowledge the giant elephant in the room that accompanies Abby Murphy. We aren't going to be diving into all the pieces of Murphy's political affiliations and party leanings. What we will say is that Derek and I, we're fully aware of the privilege that the two of us have, and that this pick will impact other members of the Torrent and PWHL and Seattle at large community much more than it does to us, and we definitely empathize with you on that.
Absolutely.
As hockey fans, we are excited to see how she fits in with this team and helps the Torrent have a much better season than the first, and we are willing to give her a chance to prove herself and her character when she's here in Seattle. Derek, with all that being said,
Oof.
how do you feel about this pick coming in and the in the moment and right now, like basically 4 days removed?
Yeah. I think you said it pretty well, Matt. I think that we're not going to dive in, as you said. But even if she performs at a Connor McDavid level, which is what GM Meg Turner was referring to, that generational talent completely reshaping the league, which I think is undoubtedly her ceiling, she's going to have to win Torrent fans like us over with a positive culture for this team. The bar is really on the floor, and it's conducting yourself in a professional way that conveys to fans or even kids that may look up to you that you treat all people equally. The good news for Torrent fans is it seems that the Torrent players, at least, are embracing Murphy. And notably, CJ commented on Murphy's post that she made a couple days, or I think, yeah, a couple days ago, with a very positive, very hyped up comment of time to get torrential in it. So there you go. Um, so I personally am cautiously optimistic about Murphy outside of her hockey play, but completely sold on her as the best, most talented forward to maybe even ever hit the ice in the PWHL. Um, Hoping for her to completely take over the PWHL while maybe learning a thing or two from some communities she hasn't seen the true nature of yet, having never even been to Seattle.
Yeah, the broadcast was really interesting leading up to this pick. They were kind of throwing off or throwing out at the first pick, being like, "Oh, is it going to be Carolyn Harvey or is it going to be Abbey Murphy?" Everyone knew it was going to be Carolyn Harvey, but when it turned, there was basically no mention of Layla Edwards on the broadcast, and I texted you as you were watching. I was like, "They haven't mentioned Layla Edwards once. I think we're gonna go Abbey Murphy." And one thing that stands out to me that they talked about on the broadcast was this is a person that you would love to have on your team, but you would hate even more to be on the team you're playing against.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty sweet quality to have that,
Oh yeah.
like it said in the press release, like other teams are going to have to plan around her, that she's going to be that much of a force. So
Yeah, the
I
the
am,
fact like you or the fact that she was even in that number one pick conversation, like they had the two
mhm,
graphics up next to each other, that says a lot. Like that almost like those could be potential like the S tier players, and then like it drops off after that, like you're saying.
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm not gonna maybe rush out to get a Abby Murphy jersey. 77, I think, is her number. I might go with I'm probably leaning more towards the 83 Murphy jersey
There we
for
go.
Hannah Murphy. But I really hope that she gets on a line with like Alex Carpenter, Julia Gosling, and her, and they are just what we had hoped the Torrent were last season when we had Alex Carpenter, Hillary Knight, and Hannah Bilka on a line. Like I want them to just be absolutely lights out and goals and assists and goals and assists. And I think once that happens, I mean, I can't speak for the community at large, but once that happens, if it happens, I think some feelings might change a little bit. But I'm
Perhaps,
very,
yeah.
very curious how that first game was going to go for her.
I'm guessing at least 2 points, hopefully three.
Oh, I was talking like in terms of reception, how
No,
it's
I
going to
know, I
go.
know.
But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see in like November-ish when the schedule eventually starts up. But that was our first pick. That was where all of kind of the attention went to, but we did have some other solid picks in there as well. Pick number two in round two, so that'd be pick 14, was Sydney Morrow, who is a defender. She was Murphy's teammate at the University of Minnesota, so that's awesome having that connection. One thing I really like is we're getting like a lot of Venn diagrams filled out here. So you have Sydney Morrow, who played with Abbey Murphy, who played with Alex Carpenter at the Olympics. Just
Mm,
as an example, you're starting to have all these like spider webs being created.
really good.
She had 8 goals and 30 assists in 31 games played this season. According to her PWHL draft profile, Morrow entered the draft as one of the most complete defenders available, offering a blend of mobility, offensive instincts, and reliability. Kyle Cushman of the Score had her ranked at number 9. So to me, getting her at number 14, that's a pretty great get. You love to see those. It's kind of like when Shane was projected at 1 and we got him at 4. You love when those maybe sneak down a little bit further. I could see her jumping into the lineup right away and getting probably like second D pair minutes with Emily Brown, who we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think this is one of the picks where she'll get just injected right into the lineup, not be one of the players who are just the reserve players and there to fill in if they need.
It sounds like it. Over point per game in college as a defender is insane, and she seems to have every single quality of an amazing defenseman. So, um, yeah, like when that's your draft, like when that's your draft profile, sky's kind of the limit as a defender. So yeah, great to see.
The rest of the picks, I didn't dive as deep into them, but just some quick rundown here. Round three was Emerson Jarvis, who is a forward. She plays at Quinnipiac University. She had 17 goals and 21 assists in 41 games played. Reports on her, and Heather told us this, she is fast. She is going to be a very fast player, which it's going to be really exciting to see if she cracks the roster. Looking forward to see if she does crack that roster, how that speed can be implemented. Because I think like looking at Berkeley Catton when he was in the WHL, the thing about him was he was fast and he was ripping around guys. When he got up to the NHL level, it wasn't quite so much, but I don't think there's as drastic of a jump from,
No,
college to PW, but still there might be a bit of a learning curve there.
for sure. Speed kills. That all the wise people have said speed kills in every single sport. So that's great.
Round four saw another forward in Grace Elliott. She is from the University of British Columbia. She had 24 goals and 13 assists in 28 games played. So she had almost like a goal per game, which is awesome.
That's
At six,
ridiculous.
at 6'2", she is tall. It'll be exciting to see if and how that height plays in on the ice.
Screaming net front presence. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely screaming net front presence. I love I love that with Jarvis you have the speed, with Elliot you have the size. Like it seems cool that the team, after being completely ravaged, is sort of filling out with with different players that serve different purposes. So that's
We're
awesome.
gonna have like a Voltron or like a Power Rangers Megazord of all these different parts coming together to
Hey,
just
perfect
make
team.
one super efficient line. Round five, we had Gracie Gilkison, who is a defender out of Yale. She had 9 goals and 18 assists in 36 games played. With how depleted the Torrent were at defense through this expansion process, Megan Carter, Mariah Keppel. There's another person that I'm totally blanking on. I think that might not be back. Well, we have just a couple who still haven't re-signed. It's great that we added more defensive depth. So not sure she'll crack the roster, but she could be one of those reserve players that last season every player on the reserve roster did get playing time. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm glad that GM Meghan Turner decided to add a second defenseman later pick. So yeah, more of a depth thing. But yeah, now we're up to three forwards and 2D from, or sorry, yeah, 2D for how far we've gone.
And the final pick was Gabriella Durante. I'm going to assume that it's pronounced, who is a goaltender. She is Canadian born, but she played for Italy in the Olympics. So getting some Olympic experience added onto this roster. She played 4 games in the Olympics, had a 3.44 goals against average, which isn't stellar, but she had a 908 save percentage, which not BTW parts. If you're above 900, we're a fan.
Yeah, I was laughing looking at this because with a 3.44 goals against average, you're like, oh my God, like what's go? But then 908 save percentage, and then you're like, oh wait, playing for Italy and facing these powerhouse teams, there's probably like
Probably getting
70
1,000 shots on
shots. Yeah,
goal.
70
Yeah.
shots against and like 5 goals allowed. Like, oh my God.
So yeah, we'll see how these all plan out. She'll probably be our third goalie because, as we talked about last week, there's a rule in the PWHL: every team has to have 3 goalies on roster. So I'm assuming we're gonna have Hannah Murphy as goalie number one, of someone who we're going to talk about shortly here in a goalie number or slot number two, and then Gabriella will be our reserve goaltender for if the time needs. One thing that I like about the PWHL is since there's only really one game a week, you don't have that goalie burnout that we were constantly seeing in the NHL. Like if you look
Really
at
good
Erin
point.
Frankel in Boston, think she played nearly every game this season just because there's only one game in a week. I think there was like one back to back because the Olympics messed with the schedule and there was the World Championship or something like the rivalry series. But there's lots of time for resting and recharging and recuperating. So we'll see. We might get some of these people in the lineup. I think for sure opening night we have Abbey Murphy and Sydney Morrow in the
Yeah,
lineup.
that seems like a safe bet.
It all comes down to this, a best of 7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sportsbook app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
Well, now we are going to take a step back from our coverage of the draft and expansions, and we are going to have a new friend of the pod come by. We are going to have a chat with McKenna, who runs at Watch Seattle Women's Sports. Here's our chat with her. All right, BTW friends, we are now joined by a very special guest in the BTW Zoom room. She runs the Instagram account at Watch Seattle Women's Sports, where she promotes watch parties around the city for Seattle's many, many, many incredible sports teams, particularly the women's teams. She was also in attendance. She was in the building for the PWHL Draft last Wednesday. So while Derek and I were stuck being schmucks at home watching it on YouTube, she got to actually live it. So please give a warm welcome to your car stereos, your headphones, however you might be taking this in, for a new friend of the show, McKenna. McKenna, welcome in Beneath the Waves.
Hey, thanks, Derek and Matt. Happy to be here. Stoked to be on the show.
Awesome. First off, we want to know kind of your origin story and what got you into Seattle hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm relatively fresh to the hockey scene. I've been to lots of Kraken games over the last 5 or so years with my dad, and always loved hockey, loved the fast-paced nature of the game, loved the hits, all of that, loved the hockey culture. I went to my first Torrent game in December, and it's kind of changed my life, and changed my bank account significantly. So I just kept going to games and getting more and more into it, finding more ways to learn about hockey. I really came from a baseline of like almost no understanding of hockey
That's
before I went to
me.
the Torrent games. I
Yep,
was
same
calling
with
them
Matt.
I was calling them trimesters instead of periods to upset my dad, and I've really come a long way. So now I'm very, very spirited about the Torrent in particular is my interest with the women's sports, but I've been to almost every single professional women's sports team that Seattle has to offer, including the Majestics, which is the women's tackle football team. I'm still waiting on the Tempest, but they're winding down their season and did very well this year. So looking forward to hitting that next season. But since December, I've been to all of the games, and I've laughed and I've cried with all of the Torrent fans, especially
A lot of
as
crying.
a lot of crying. But things are looking up, and now that we know who we do have, it feels less harsh to be losing people. And I was very excited about these expansion teams coming in, super stoked for Detroit, Hamilton. Everything was just really, really exciting. Excited to have a couple of other teams on the West Coast. And then when the draft location popped up in Detroit, I've been to Michigan, but I'd never been to Detroit, and I saw tickets were $25. I said, surely I could afford
Wow.
that. So I got a ticket to the draft, and then I started asking friends if anybody wanted to go with me. Nobody was free. So I kind of sent it. I was already at a music festival in Nashville, so I just kind of extended my trip, and yeah, it was just an incredible experience. I've really dived into just women's sports culture in Seattle and trying to make sure that people know where they can watch women's sports. I'm not a sports analyst, but I am a big people person, so empowering more women and queer people in particular to gather
Mhm.
around women's sports and ask questions. and like take up space in the sports world is really important to me. So it's been really fun to kind of blend all of those really exciting interests.
Awesome. And going to your first torrent game, I think you said in December, right?
Yeah.
Can you sort of describe? We've had Zane Begg on the show, host of Davy Jones' Locker Room
Mhm.
and Locked on Kraken, and he and I both we I was on the torrent shoveling crew this year, so I have this shirt,
My favorite team every
the
time.
shovel people.
No, you have no
Um,
idea. Every time y'all are on the ice, I'm shouting, "That's my
Oh, let's go.
favorite
We
team!"
have fans. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to get to is that environment is just insane. In fact, many of the people on, the Shovel People crew here had to get very special like earplugs because of how
Mm.
loud that building is. I was just wondering if you could sort of share your experience there, how the noise gets, how loud it gets in that building, and how that compares to other sporting events you've been to before.
It's just unreal, and I'm happy to hear that, like behind the glass, y'all can hear that excitement and all the energy in the room too.
More than just hear it. Yeah.
Feel it in your bones.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I mean, that's women's hockey in particular is like so bound in community, and there are so few opportunities for grown women and grown queer people to go into a room and feel very together with people that are so alike them with aligned interests and feel like, wow, like this was built for me by
Mhm.
me. And it is so incredible to be surrounded by people that like you can shout, you can be loud. There's no um like censorship of enthusiasm and joy and anger and shock. And it's so exciting to be around people that are so invested in these exceptional athletes that have really just dedicated their whole life to this. And walking around Climate Pledge Arena, I mean, that's one of the most incredible arenas in the country. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
gorgeous. The living wall is amazing. It's so fun to be able to walk through and just see kids everywhere and just like having the time of their life and learning about hockey and seeing moms and parents and partners and everybody is walking around that arena and it's just electric when whether we're losing or winning, there's just so much excitement to be having the opportunity to cheer for one of these teams and for this sport. It's just so exciting.
And we said
Absolutely.
a lot of times, like both Seattle hockey teams this season did not so hot, but there was definitely a like more prevalent feeling of positivity in the Torrent side.
Oh,
Everyone was
yeah.
still there having a good time. You look at the Kraken side, and it's just absolute
A little beat
misery.
down.
So I
Yeah.
I definitely like that side of the hockey world better, the Torrent side for that.
Totally. Well, it's funny you mentioned that my like obviously the Torrent were not winning all of their games this year, and I was pulling family members and community members, neighbors, friends to my local pub that was always happy to put the Torrent games on for me. And whenever there was an away game, win or lose, I was, if the Frost were scoring a goal, I was like, women are winning today. And it doesn't
I
matter.
It's
Like the
awesome.
team is actually, especially like this first year, it felt very like the world is our oyster. And I hope to kind of preserve that feeling of like joy that it's happening. Because like this has not always been an opportunity. And so to feel like no matter the outcome of the scoreboard, like women are winning. And that is pretty epic. Like that's something I can
Yeah,
cheer for and have like enthusiasm no matter what.
I noticed that perusing your page that like you posted about the most exciting players on like the Golden Eyes because I think you were going to a Vancouver Seattle game and the most exciting players on the Torrent and that you were saying like regardless of what happens like it's going to be great to see women win. So is that sort of like what keeps you going because it looks like a lot of work to be scouting out all of these different game times, posting these different game times on a consolidated post, all these different venues that you're finding. I even like you have the live map of all of the different locations in your link tree. So is that what sort of like keeps you going, like that joy that you explained earlier, or like how do you feel about all of the work that you're putting in?
Yeah, I mean, social media definitely doesn't come very natural to me, so that is a skill that I'm still
You're
learning.
doing fantastic.
One day at a time, one day at a time. But yeah, I mean, it's so important for me to find joy and to be finding community and it just I just don't ever want to take for granted that not very long ago, like the women in my family did not have the opportunity to cheer for these sports. 4 years ago, there wasn't a professional women's hockey league, and I've never felt so like inspired by anything in my life like I have going to a professional women's hockey league. And so
Wow.
it feels just moving to know that these athletes have actually been fighting for this before I even knew anything about professional hockey, before I cared about men's hockey at all. And people have dedicated their whole lives to it, and it feels like it would be a missed opportunity to not just celebrate the growth and that just having joy that we have something to feel passionate about that can like just really bring a lot of like strength and community into our lives. Feels like it's just my number one priority in life, I think, is just celebrating that and kind of creating opportunities for joy for people.
That's awesome.
So obviously, before the Torrents second overall pick came in the draft, we had to sit and wait and see who the Golden Eyes took number one. Everyone figured it was going to be Carolyn Harvey. It's kind of like everyone figures it's probably going to
Hmm.
be Gavin McKenna for the NHL draft this week. What was the atmosphere like in the room before that was announced? Did it seem like there might be something wild and crazy that happens, or was it just like waiting for something and going through the motions?
Before KK was announced,
Yeah.
it was like the air was so thin in that room. It was so loud. We were just everyone was on pins and needles just waiting to hear University of Wisconsin. And as soon as the word Wisconsin was not even out of their mouth, and the room was on fire. It was just absolutely on fire. And before they had even started announcing draft picks, we got to see all of the draft picks that were in attendance go down the red carpet. I actually had originally, like I said, I got my $25 ticket, and Alicia Crank from Crank Up the Volume was also there. She was one of the only other people from Seattle that were there. She's amazing. She's had some really awesome coverage. She was able to get a press pass as well. And she texted me and she was like, "Hey, like, do you have VIP?" And I was like, "No, but if you know how I can upgrade, let me know." She's like, "Well, I have my media pass, so I don't need my ticket anymore. If you want it, it's all yours." And so she was
No
super
way.
generous, and that gave me access to the red carpet. And I mean, seeing Layla Edwards and Abbey Murphy and KK Harvey come down the stairs was just like very surreal to see these people that there's been so much anticipation around it all season. And then when she was called, I mean, there were like four rows of people all around her that just stood up. It took her minutes to get up onto the stage. Everybody was just congratulating her, and obviously that was a really special moment for her and Layla. So it was just really special to feel, in a very small way, a part of getting to celebrate her hard work too. And yeah, it was like the ice had been broken at that point because everybody knew it was happening. We were really kind of waiting on what our two options or so were for our pick for the our first round
Mhm.
draft pick. But yeah, the anticipation it was there. Everybody felt very sure of that though. They didn't feel like there was too much up in the air.
Second overall pick. Leading up to it, it was just a coin toss. Was it going to be Layla
Hmm.
Edwards? Was it going to be Abby Murphy? Was there much tension in the theater, like waiting on pins and needles that was going to happen? Because that's, how I felt in the living room, and Derek and I were texting back and forth, just like waiting on what drafted tweet to hit send on, because it was
Exactly.
pretty tense.
I know. Frankly, I think I would have felt more tense. I would have felt more tension in the room had I been back in Seattle or pretty much anywhere else. Um, it was all excitement and joy in the theater, and there was also definitely some um, like apprehension, just not really know how everything would be received. Um, and
Yeah.
so. I mean, obviously, I wasn't in Seattle. I heard that there was kind of some mixed
Oh yeah.
receptions, if you'd call it mixed. But I think that, I mean, being in the room, it was, I mean, I felt kind of like I was like, okay, I'm looking at one person, and I can kind of go approach this two ways. And um, obviously, there are pros and cons of every player, and I'm happy to talk more about it. I'm not sure how much y'all want to
Oh yeah.
really get into it, but
That's literally the next question
okay,
is
yeah,
evaluating sort of like Abby Murphy on the team.
Initial
Um,
yeah,
reaction, how it
sort
feels
of your
now.
initial, yeah, exactly.
yeah. So yeah, I guess to wrap that up, I would say that the tension in the room was not as difficult as I think it was back home. I think there was just a lot of excitement that the city of Detroit had to be hosting this event. And there were only two or three people from Seattle in the room. It was like me and Alicia. I mean, outside of like the people making the draft picks. I saw
Right. So
one gal
most
from
people didn't
Illinois.
have.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, most people didn't have like as much of a stake in like the second.
totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they were just excited to see Abbey Murphy get drafted and for the process to be going along. So everybody was just kind of happy that this was happening rather than if it was in Seattle, it might have been a different tone.
Oh, absolutely. That makes sense. And yeah, that gets us to our next question. We talked about it. Matt and I talked about it earlier. There are a lot of different emotions that come with having Abby Murphy on the team, as you alluded to. What were your initial reactions to having Abby Murphy, and how are you feeling now that there's been almost a week removed from that initial like rip the band-aid off
Yeah.
that pick?
Yeah. I remember the first time I learned who Abby Murphy was very vividly. It is one of my most vivid PWHL memories of all time, and that was when she had that epic assist. I rewatched that video so regularly, and then it was
Yep.
so exciting seeing her in the Olympics and just hearing about her gameplay and her strategy. She's such a physical player. She really gets under people's skin. She's a really a competitive force, and it actually wasn't until after the Olympics had ended that I learned that there was some controversy in terms of like questions about her her like character, her personal life. And it's felt quite complicated since then. And like I can say that like Layla Edwards was who I wanted the pick to be. I really, but I also wanted Layla Edwards to be able to play with Hillary Knight. So, like we have to hold some dreams for the future, I guess.
There's
Um,
alternate timelines that those things
exactly,
happen.
exactly. There is somewhere in the universe that they are playing together again. Um, and I think I felt disappointed in the moment when it was aggregated with the other losses that we've faced. Today I'm feeling much more hopeful and joyful about the state of the Torrent roster than I was probably 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
I mean, it just has felt very demoralizing after the season that we had with all the losses of a lot of our really iconic players, and just not knowing what was going to happen. It felt a little bit like just like beating a dead horse.
Oh yeah.
Like not the people of Seattle love like a personality. They love to feel really connected to like the ethos of a character. Sue Bird, Megan Rapinoe, Jen Fishlock, all of these, Jess Fishlock. We really connect to the people along with the gameplay. And what I know, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people that are comparing Abby Murphy to other players in the league, like Britta Curl, and I think that that is a false equivalence. I think like players are young, and one person's potential for harm or opinions cannot be the thing that defines our team. And that I think there's a lot of growth that we can allow people to have. And living in Seattle, being surrounded by loud, excited, enthusiastic, um, like prideful fans
Oh yeah.
is a powerful thing. And I had to get over the feelings of like, well, I don't want this type of character that I
Hmm.
think that this person is to be in my precious sweet team of the Torrent. Um, and frankly, I'd really like for her to succeed, and I'd really like for the Torrents to succeed with her. And I think that as a player, she's an exceptional addition and one that, particularly after our GM announced that like um, being punishing is her idea of the sort of theme of our team this year. It was I had a hard time believing in anything else than us having Abbey Murphy this next season. So um, I think it's going to be fine. And I think that she's a high skill player that is going to be able to teach a lot of our other players and connect a lot of really important pieces for us that we were missing last season. And I'd really like to see her embrace the city of Seattle and the fans. Because I think that once people are able to kind of get through the immediate reaction of disappointment compared to who we did want, who like the large majority did want on the team, I think that it will be really great to see people um, give people the opportunity to grow and have really positive experiences in the city that'll surprise people. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, a couple quick things before
Yeah,
Matt. Matt's ushering me right now, saying we have like 4 minutes left or
I know.
something.
Sorry,
No, no,
No,
you're
it's good. It's
good.
awesome.
You're good. It's amazing. And you said that you're not an analyst, but I literally think you broke that down better than Matt or I could ever dream of. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to say I agree where you were saying like that when she comes to Seattle, she might be engaging with these communities and having a change of perspective. Because I noticed that at the draft, she said that she's never been to Seattle before. So I just think that's a very like prudent point that you brought up, and I wanted to highlight that. But yeah, amazing analysis of everything there. I just want to say.
I think like my very, very last thing, I'll try to be brief on that one. In
You're
that same
good.
interview where she said like she's never been to Seattle before, I somebody had asked her about like what she if she feels that she can adapt to her style of play to really reel back her penalty minutes and minutes in the penalty box. And she was, I mean, it would be very easy for her to just say, "Yep, I'm gonna do it and I can control my game and that's enough, move to the next question." But I think she had honestly like a pretty professional and honest response and just said, I'm really trying to grow on that. And that's something that I really needed to work on through my whole NCAA career. And it's something that she is working on. And I think that when people share the capacity for growth and the interest in growth, that that is a good sign and that that is something that we should always encourage. Um, and that is hopeful to me.
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a whole lot of ebbs and flows in the feelings towards her leading up to the puck drop on that very first game. I'm curious to see what that arena is going to be like when she gets called out for the first time. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna hope that we get some good things out of her and the fans are open and bring her in and we can see some change there. From you, McKenna, first of all, I want to say anytime you want to come by BTW, please do come hang out.
I would love to.
This has just been absolutely delightful. So we want to thank you so much for coming in. You're one of the Derek and I were trying to find out how many people are in the friends of the pod status that we've had at this point,
Oh,
but
fun.
you're in like the core four. I think we landed on. We've hit four
Honored.
people. So
Honored.
and again, anytime you want to come in, please do. And if people want to find more of what you do online, where might they be able to do that?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at WatchSeattleWomensSports. Like I said, I don't consider myself an analyst. My focus is on really creating accessibility for watching sports, educating people on how to ask for the sports they want on TV, and then sort of facilitating more of that viewership in particularly women-owned bars in Seattle and encouraging the kind of women-centered support that bars like Rough and Tumble and Pitch the Baby have been able to offer the city. So catch me on Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. That's what I
Not
got.
yet.
Not yet. We need
I had to
some
delete it.
vlogs
I
from
couldn't do it
different
anymore.
watch parties that you get to go to. And
Yes, yes.
yeah. All right. Well, McKenna, again, thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate you coming by.
Thank you
And
so much for your time,
yeah,
y'all. Appreciate it. It's been a blast.
awesome. Huge thank you again to McKenna for coming by. Again, welcome to come back anytime you want. We did talk with her after we got off the call that if we do a Torrent time capsule in the same way that we do a Kraken time capsule at the start of the season, that if she wants to be on it, we're gonna hit her up for that. So start making your predictions now, McKenna. You said you are not a hockey analyst, but maybe you're gonna get deep in the weeds like me when you go to make those picks. Coming out of that and the draft, we can say that we did it. We survived the great expansion of 2026. Derek, we got some bumps, we got some bruises.
Oof.
Whole
Uh,
process done and dusted. How are we feeling before we get into the particulars?
the only thing I'm going to say is I hope there are like 10 years between now and the next time that this process happens. Or if it happens any sooner, I hope it's done in a much more forgiving way.
Yeah, Alicia Crank, I believe it was, had a video on TikTok and it was like expansion teams of season two.
I saw that.
I understand your pain now. So I think we were all feeling that. We're like last season, we're like, oh, we're eating good in Seattle right now. We got this super team. And now we were kind
And
of,
then the team turned out to not even be like that
yeah.
great in performance, and then it got like completely gutted.
But we are starting to rebuild that team, and a major chunk of that happened in phase five, which was the exclusive re-signing window. So teams were allowed to re-sign their free agents. And there was a couple moves here announced by the Torrent. Emily Brown, who was the alternate captain in the inaugural season, she signed a 2-year extension. She was the final pick in the expansion draft. So back when we were gutting those other teams, she was the final pick that Seattle picked up. She ended up getting that A on her jersey, and she played in all 30 games, which again, a big benefit of PWHL and having that looser schedule, getting lots of recovery time, not getting as hurt. And she recorded 4 assists in that game. So one thing I'm really happy about with this one, we have Alex Carpenter, we have Emily Brown. So our leadership core was not fully ripped down to the studs.
That's good. Because like we were talking about Julia Gosling, how she was talking about how she just loved the dynamic, the chemistry, everything this year, all the people. So it's good that that sort of culture, that cultural like backbone, besides losing your captain, is intact.
The second announcement was that Teresa Shuffsall signed a 2-year extension as well. She joined the Torrent last season in the trade that sent Jesse Eldridge over to Boston. In her 11 games with the Torrent, she had 2 goals and 7 assists. So she had a real impact as soon as she got on the team. And in total for the season, she had 4 goals and 11 assists between the two teams. So a majority of that, it was less than half the season, but a majority of her stats came in the Emerald and Cream.
Yeah, almost to borrow a Kraken analogy here, almost sort of like a Bobby McMahon type where they come to Seattle and they find a different fit where they start becoming electric. So that's awesome that they retain Shavsal.
And the final one is Aneta Terelova, who I had earmarked for someone that I want us to make sure to protect. Also signed a 2-year extension. She was the Olympic captain for Team Czechia. She was the very first pick in the expansion draft for Seattle, so picked even before Hannah Bilka. She was the top Seattle pick. She played in 23 games. Some of that was due to a suspension when she annihilated Sarah Fillier, I believe it was, from New York, and had to do some punishment time for a hit to the head. And some of it was out due to injury. So, despite those missings, she had 2 goals and 4 assists in 23 games. She is a very physical player, and I'm very glad we still have her on the blue line and we still have her bringing the dab back because she brought that part of the culture.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, with GM Meg Turner wanting to be more aggressive, and I think as McKenna said, wanting to be punishing, definitely good to have physical players like Teralova.
Yeah.
Teralo.
Tej. I just been calling her Tej.
Tej. It's great to
type.
have people like Tej.
And I can never remember which way the accent goes on the A when I'm typing it out. So So that was our phase five. Phase six was essentially the PWHL equivalent of Free Agent Frenzy. Anyone was available to go to any team that wanted to sign them. The first re-signing announced. Just cheers of joy erupting from Seattle. I feel I could hear them up here in the prairies of Canada. Carly CJ Jackson signed a new 2-year deal. CJ only saw the ice twice last season, so it'll be exciting to see them potentially get more ice time when they serve as a backup to Hannah Murphy. That's kind of what I alluded to before. I think that CJ will be goalie B and that they'll play backup for Hannah Murphy.
Yeah, I think if they did not, and take this with a grain of salt, but I think if they did not re-sign CJ, that would have been like this was a saving grace for
That would
this
have
whole
been nail
expansion.
in the coffin for the fan
Yes,
base.
they needed a W, and and the re-signing of CJ is a massive W. But I just cannot imagine how depressing things would have gotten if that was like the final blow of this expansion process.
And we said in the McKenna chat that CJ did reply to Abby Murphy's "Let's Get Torrential" post, just hyping Abby Murphy up. So I think that was also a big thing for the fans, not to speak for all the fans, but it's what was blasting out on the social medias was you have a player like CJ who's representing this population of the fan base, and then you have this counter person of Abby Murphy, just thinking that it's going to be oil and water coming together. But it seems CJ's endorsing Murphy being on the team. It seems like we're going back in time to talk now, but like Alex Carpenter hyped up Abby Murphy being on the team. So it seems like the team is starting to come together a little bit, which we love to see.
Mhm.
We had a bit of an oopsie on the BTW social media
Oh,
networks
this is
that
my fault.
we'll own up to. No, this was my fault because I'm the torrent guy. Uh, a day or so after I said, Derek, make a graphic because Jenna Buglioni is still on the team. She didn't get picked up in expansion. We found out that the Torrent's first ever draft pick will instead be suiting up for the Charge next season. So, oopsie poopsie, we made a goof, but you know what? We're learning. We're learning. We got that whiplash from that, but I wasn't technically wrong. She stayed in Seattle for 2 more days and then she got moved. At the end of the day, the team announced on the end of the day on Friday, the team announced that they'd be trading Bugs, who played in only 18 games last season because of injury. Derek, do you know who they traded her for?
Ooh.
Regina, Saskatchewan's own Nina Brick. I now have a hometown tie to this team in the same way that I have a hometown tie to the Seattle Kraken
Let's
through Jordan
go.
Eberle. I was pumped when I saw this. Like all things aside, we'll get into the other things, but like I was like, man, this is awesome. I got like a hometown person. There's not a lot of Saskatchewan representation in the PWHL. I was psyched. Brick was the Charge's fifth round pick in this year's draft, so she was in the Charge red and yellow for about 48 hours, and then she got switched over to the Emerald and Cream. She enters the Torrent after 4 years at Colgate University. A couple Torrent players played over at Colgate University. So again, those Venn diagrams, they're forming. And last season, she played in the SDHL for Modo Hockey, which is like, team sounds so cool over there.
I know.
Like Modo, that's awesome. In 35 games with that team, she had 11 goals and 8 assists. So she could be one of those bubble reserve players that get called up in injury times, or, she has that pro experience over in Europe. So maybe she slots in on that fourth line and is grinding things out.
Yeah, absolutely. Earning points at a professional level is definitely something to take into account.
We learned on Sunday an unfortunate update. The forward Natalie Snodgrass signed with Las Vegas as a UFA. So that's one less person taking up a roster spot that we need to fill, which is unfortunate, but I'm glad that she did get picked up for a team. That's she was a great, gritty third line sort of presence on the Torrent. And then we learned of a new Torrent player that wasn't on any of our radars when the team announced that forward Emma Newtonen, I'm going to assume it is pronounced,
There you
from Finland's, again, super cool sounding Aurora Liga.
go.
That sounds super cool. She is a 29-year-old that is a three-time Olympian with Finland. She has won two straight championships in Aurora Liga and as well scoring titles for her team, Kiekko Espoo.
There we go.
BCW Finnish fans, let me know how badly I butchered that. Last season in that league, she had 27 goals and 38 assists in 28 games played. So I'm sure there'll be a jump going from Aurora Liga to PWHL, but
So
27 goals and 38 assists, that's nothing to sneeze
that's
at.
that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Unless Finnish women's hockey is just like 10 times easier than PWHL, I like she's got to produce. Like there's just no way. That's so many points.
So that is a nice sneaky get from GMMT. According to our very own Heather, she told us that we should be hyped and pumped for this move, and I'm feeling good about it. So this she has an amazing shot. She's really powerful, and she is a very nimble skater. So it kind of seems like one of those things where it checks all of the boxes. So all told, we have, I believe, at this point, 13 players on roster. We have five draft picks who are still not signed because I'm assuming Abbey Murphy just got signed up right away. Maybe not, but that's just a foregone conclusion. Still got to build up the roster a little bit. We still have a couple of our bubble players from last season that we're waiting on. What do you think the pulse is, the temperature is of the Torrent as we sit right now?
Well, I think as McKenna said earlier that the vibes are a lot better, than they were.
We were
And
down bad.
yeah, and I think that is people starting to maybe sort of come around on the Murphy acquisition and just sort of realizing, okay, like what is this going to look like for the team on the ice, and yeah, just other moves as well. But I think the vibes seem to be somewhat good, dare I say. So how are you feeling? What do you think?
I'm feeling same page. Like we're a lot better off than we were 7 days ago, than we
Yeah.
were 5 days ago. We
Hmm.
were just like a frame of a car that was just absolutely stripped down. We were left on cinder blocks with our tires removed, and we're slowly building our way back up. And we still got a ways to go with, I think like I think 24 is the minimum in the PWHL. I could be making that up. So we still got 10 or so players that we need to add on, but we got a good foundation. Carpy, Goose, Shaftsall, Murphy, just we're doing awesome. Oh, one person I didn't mention, because this one snuck in and we just had so much news that it blanked on it. Gabrielle David, uh, the Canadian player who went and played over in Sweden, I do believe, joined the Torrent midway through the season, and she re-signed for 2 years. So that's another slot filled in our lineup. Probably like third line. We'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty solid.
Heck yeah.
Next week, when we come back into your feeds, maybe it'll turn out to be a super crazy double episode week again. But if that doesn't happen, we are going to be reacting to the Kraken's draft and any other news that comes in, as well as previewing free agency. So, still lots of hockey action coming your way from Seattle. Derek, as we close out here, could you let the folks know where they can find us online?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. So you can find us online at btwsea.com. You can go over there. We have full-fledged website. You can check out anything there. You can see all about our pod there. You can also check out our store there. We have a bunch of different designs of different merch that you can check out, a bunch of cool stuff. Also, go check out our very own Heather's articles. She is relentlessly covering the Seattle Torrent for the hockey news, and you can find the link to her work in our show notes. You can also follow her at Heather Nicole with no E and at the Hockey News W to see more of her work. Please also drop a follow and a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice, and follow us on all socials. It helps us out a whole lot if you could take a second to like or comment on those videos. And I just wanted to say, follow McKenna at Watch Seattle Women's Sports to see where you can watch women's sports today, and check back in with us to see more hockey stuff at BTWSEA. Are we vibing with that? Okay, let's go. All right. That's going to do it for episode 70. See you guys at episode 71. Bye.
Going beneath the waves.